When the Washington Redskins' Joe Theismann broke a scoreless tie against the New York Giants last week with this third-quarter touchdown pass to Ricky Thompson, it looked like the Skins were on their way to victory. But once again, turnovers. Once the great ally of the Redskins, but now reaching epidemic proportions with 10 in 2 games, cost them the win. The final score, 17-7. Meanwhile, the St. Louis Cardinals, winless as well, uncovered a diamond in the rough and a powerful right arm in Dallas in quarterback Neil Lomax, as well as a talented, unique two-way performer in Roy Green, who worked as a defensive back, returned kicks, and made this sparkling 60-yard catch. Today, he gets his first start as a wide receiver in the NFL. The Cardinals and the Redskins, one will start to turn the season around today on CBS.
CBS Sports presents the National Football League. Today, the Washington Redskins against the St. Louis Cardinals.
Welcome to Busch Memorial Stadium on the final Sunday of summer 1981. Gorgeous day, capacity crowd on hand. Hi everybody, I'm Frank Lieber along with Roger Staubach. Good news for the Cardinals today, perhaps unexpected. They get Jim Hart back.
Jim's a great veteran quarterback. He's had some injury problems, but they need a healthy Hart to get this season turned around, Frank.
Speaking of injuries, how about the Washington Redskins, decimated last week against the Giants? That sets up an interesting situation today with the return of Terry Metcalf.
That's very ironic. Terry Metcalf has been a big play guy in this stadium. 3 years ago, he left St. Louis, and he's now with the Washington Redskins. They need a big day from him. We have two teams that are struggling, two teams that need a victory. It should be an interesting game.
Neil O'Donoghue will kick off for the St. Louis Cardinals. As the Cardinals kick to the Redskins. Terry Metcalf from 5 yards deep in the end zone. You don't think he's anxious to play against his old teammates? Carries it out to the 20 where it'll be 1st and 10. Here's the Redskins, offensive backs and receivers. You can see the changes there with Metcalf and Jackson in the backfield replacing Riggins and Washington, who are out with injuries. Change in the offensive line. Joe Jacoby at a guard position, replacing Russ Grimm, who was injured last week. 1st and 10. Redskins ball at their 20. Theismann has put it in the air 48 times in each of the Redskins' first 2 games, and it's only produced 2 touchdowns. Starts off on the ground with Jackson. Fumble on the fade, and the Cardinals recover. So again, the turnovers which have plagued the Redskins in their first 2 games. A critical fumble, and Lee Nelson making a big play for the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Cardinals come up with excellent field position. Here's the Cardinals offensive setup. One change in their starting lineup there. Wayne Morris in for Theodis Brown at a running back. Brown out with an ankle injury. Greg LaFleur is a newcomer. He's starting at tight end for Chris Combs after Combs had a so-so outing against Dallas. Great field position. Cardinals from their 35, and Hart comes out throwing. Roy Green, first down and out of bounds inside the 20, and we get a flag as well. So Roy Green making his first start ever in the NFL as a wide receiver. He didn't even play wide receiver in college. Have to go back to high school.
Yeah, Roy's a defensive back by nature, but he's got quick feet. He's got good hands, and he makes a fine move here with those quick feet, and he gets a personal foul getting knocked out of bounds by Lamar Parrish, number 24.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 24 defense, 1st down.
Well, there you have the 2 things that have killed the Redskins this year. Fumbles and penalties.
Penalties and turnovers. The run from scrimmage by Wilbur Jackson was probably one of the longest runs in 1st down. It looked like good news for a minute until he fumbled.
1st down, goal to go from the 10-yard line for the St. Louis Cardinals. LaFleur out wide to the right side. Green is off to the left. O.J. Anderson bouncing off a tackler. Boy, he made 4 yards out of nothing.
Yeah, he tried to get outside, and he found he couldn't get outside, but with his strength and quickness, he ducked inside, and the strength got him through 2 tackles, and Here's the defense. Lorch was one of those men he got through, and Dave Butts, their big defensive lineman, is having a great season.
Mendenhall, a new starter in the defensive line. Mel Kaufman replacing Monty Coleman at a linebacker. He'll be out for several weeks. And the secondary remains intact. Of course, their pass defense still #1 in the NFC. 2nd and goal to go. Cardinals at the Redskins 7-yard line. Anderson. A pickup of perhaps a yard by Neil Olkowitz, making the stop. Number 52, the middle linebacker, the Redskins, who had 12 unassisted tackles last week against the Giants. O.J. coming off a great year in 1980, has had less success, picking up just over 130 yards rushing in his first 2 games. It's a man that's averaged about 90 yards throughout his career. It is 3rd and goal to go. Cardinals at the 7. What do you think, Roger?
Well, this is the area that you're working basically your tight ends and your backs swinging over the goal line into that short area. Jim Hart had some confusion there. He started to call the play and changed his mind and called a timeout, and he's going to talk it over in the sidelines.
And Hart moving remarkably well for a man who had minor surgery on his knee just 2 weeks ago. Timeout in St. Louis. Back in a moment.
Here's to meeting new faces in new places. For that first day on the job, this Bud's for you.
This Bud's for you. There's no one else who does it quite the way you do. So here's to you. This Bud's for you. For all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
3rd down, goal to go for the St. Louis Cardinals as the Redskins defense digs in. Cardinals trying to capitalize on an early break, a fumble recovery, which put him in business at the 35. Willard Harrell is in the lineup in the backfield along with O.J. Anderson. Pat Chile in motion. Hart back to throw it. Swings it out, and Anderson can't handle it. He had 3 Redskins over there, but as strong as he is, you never know what might happen. Anderson used much more as a receiver this year. In the first 2 Cardinal games, he's caught 10 passes. Last year, he averaged catching just 2 passers or so a game.
Well, the Redskins did a good job that time, Frank. They wouldn't have scored if Anderson would have caught the ball. He would have been hit immediately on about this 5 or 6 yard line. They need to get in the end zone. It was 3rd and goal, so they have to settle for the field goal here.
O'Donohue with an effort from about 25 yards. Roger Worley in to spot it. Gorgeous day, as we said, in St. Louis. Temperature in the low 80s at the present time. Virtually no wind at all. Not a cloud in the sky. And a capacity house of 51,000 looking on. That's good. So the Cardinals get 3 out of the turnover by the Washington Redskins. And with 13-14 left in the opening period, it's 3-0.
This car is out for a Sunday drive here at testing grounds in Ohio. It's the 1981 Honda Accord. With front-wheel drive, 4-wheel independent suspension, a 5-speed transmission, and rack and pinion steering. We've tested the Accord under grueling road conditions you wouldn't encounter in a month of Sundays. Because life isn't always a simple Sunday drive.
Honda, we make it simple.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Where?
Sears said they'd install the muffler in an hour. An hour's up.
Since when does an hour mean 60 minutes?
Confidence, Karen. Confidence.
Now, Sears will install the Musler muffler for $24.99 within 60 minutes of your authorization, or there's no labor charge.
Ah, Mr. Carlson, 60 minutes on the nose.
Well, I never doubted it for a second.
For great value and fast service, you can count on Sears.
Monday, Brentwood hosts a slumber party.
I think that we should serve potato chips, pretzels, hot dog.
Might I suggest a dry red wine?
The deep man for the St. Louis Cardinals, Terry Metcalf, in the center of the three-man formation. O'Donohue kicking off, I should say, for the Redskins. And here comes Metcalf. 10-15 out to the 20. And dropped at the 22-yard line. Cardinals play the three men up front defensively, and three pretty good ones. Rush Brown, just a second-year man.
That's interesting. Walking off the field, number 25 was in on that tackle. Number 25 does a little bit of everything. That's offense, defense, returns kicks, and he covers on kicks. He and Randy Love, number 40, are two excellent specialty team men in the league, and they're both on the Cardinals.
1st and 10. Redskins ball just beyond their 20-yard line. Joe Theismann calling the signals. And they go right back to Wilbur Jackson. And Jackson picks up good yardage out to the 27-yard line. Probably a very good move to get his confidence back, to give it right back to him.
It is. He had a great preseason. Came to camp healthy. He's looked good in preseason. Riggins is hurt. He's got his chance now, and it's a good situation. He got 5 yards. 2nd and 5 is what the Redskins need. They need to get in that position where the defense is on edge. They can throw, pass, they can draw, they can screen here. You get 2nd, 8, 9, and you have to give your cards away, and you have to throw the football. So that's a good rush. They need more of that today on 1st down.
On 2nd and 5, they stay on the ground, and Jackson looks like he's picked up the first. Tim Carney, number 56, making the stop. It's like Joe Gibbs is determined to run the football. The Redskins are dead last in the NFL in rushing offense this year. They've done nothing on the ground, and it's hurt them. Speaking of Joe Gibbs, he's finding out what it's like to be a head coach.
Joe's got the yellow shirt on there. He's got his two signal callers, Bro and Bugle, exchanging. We don't know who is calling the signals. One's live and one's not alive. That's not literally.
Would you care to rephrase it? From the 33-yard line, Jackson on his 3rd straight carry, driving hard, gets another 8. So the Redskins stay on the ground and are doing well here on this particular series. Curtis Greer, number 75, making the stop.
Well, the Redskins, Frank, really have a game plan where Wilbur Jackson is a key ingredient in the game plan. I was told this before the game. They haven't used the fullback a great deal, but today they're putting a few extra plays in there, that counter move right there, and they have some outside plays to the fullback, and Jackson's going to be carrying the ball today. They want to establish that running game.
2nd and 2, and the Cardinals have now gone to a 4-man front. Jackson driving for the 1st down, and he'll be close. You notice the Redskins lining up with just the one running back. Keep in mind they beat the Cardinals twice last year. They won the last 4 as Jackson heads to the sideline for equipment repairs. They've won 8 of the last 9, and they beat them handily twice last year without Riggins and, of course, without Joe Washington.
Right.
They beat him with Jackson and with Clarence Harmon. It is a 1st down, the 2nd in this drive for Washington. 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. Redskins trail 3-0. 10.5 minutes left in the opening period. Theismann, first throw of the day, and he's got a wide open receiver. Out of bounds at the 35-yard line is Rick Walker, the tight end, number 88. And the Redskins have driven into Cardinal territory, have a 1st down at the 36.
Rick Walker, number 88, is going into that open area. He's got a back out here. The linebacker comes up on the back, and you see Walker getting in that little empty zone there. That's kind of a banana route. He starts to go down the line and just breaks out a little bit into that seam, finds an open area, hoping the linebacker will come up on the back. If the linebacker goes back with him, Theismann lays it out to the outside.
A banana route. That's a new one.
That's a term, an old term from an old football player.
From the 36-yard line, Jackson around the left side. It has some running room and run out of bounds near the 20-yard line as the Redskins have an impressive drive going, and even more important, most of it is on the ground.
Well, we've got we're 5 minutes into the 1st quarter, and here's Jackson breaking the outside. He has now surpassed the leading rusher the last 2 weeks for the Redskins. John Riggins had 25 yards in the opening game, 28 in the game last week against the Giants, and Jackson already has 43 yards. So he's got a long ways to go today, and the rushing game has been improved. They've worked on it hard all week, and they've done something about it.
Ball is at the Cardinal 23-yard line. 1st and 10. Third first down in this drive. Jackson again around the left side and down finally around the 15. Against Dallas 2 weeks ago, the Redskins did not have a single first down rushing, and against the Giants they had 3. I mean, they picked up more first downs prior to this game on penalties, and they have rushing.
Well, St. Louis is looking at what Washington has done, and they have looked at passing. And they're confused now. The defense has not been working to the point where they've worked on the run all week, and it's hurting them. The St. Louis defense is confused, and the Redskin offense is moving at will on the ground.
Officials have it marked at the 16. It is 2nd and a long 2 for the first down. They're going to keep trying that left side. He drops the ball. Who got it?
Redskins
I
recover.
believe the Redskins recover this one. Jeff Bostic, the center, making the recovery, number 53, Bostic, for the Redskins. And of course his brother is an offensive lineman for the St. Louis Cardinals, Joe Bostic, who starts at right guard. 3rd down, still a yard needed for the first down. Jackson has carried now 6 times and has picked up 51 yards. Big play here on 3rd and 1 from the 14. Jackson and Otis Wansley are the running backs. Wansley, the rookie free agent. They give it to Wilbur, and Jackson has the first down as he nears the 12-yard line with that charge over the right side. Good job by that young Redskins offensive line. Not much experience there, but they seem to be firing out pretty well.
Doing a good job. The Cardinal linebackers in front 3 are not coordinated. They're just not in the right place. The Redskins are moving the ball around well on the ground. Different types, different plays. They're using 3 wide receivers and keeping a single back in the backfield in Jackson, and they're not throwing the ball. One pass, the rest of it's been on the ground.
First down, 10 to go from the 12-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. Redskins trailing 3-0. Jackson up the middle, fighting his way down to the 6. You're talking about the banana play. There's something else I want to ask you about that you were talking about earlier, but go ahead first.
Well, that's a trap right here, right up the middle. The right guard pulled. Jackson came where he pulled from and had good blocking by Stark, and he just bowled his way for an extra few yards, and they've got a 2nd down on the 6-yard line.
2nd and 5. You said something yesterday about a waggle play that the Redskins use. Now, what is that?
Well, it's a concept. They have a back in the flat and a receiver downfield, and the quarterback takes his choice. If the receiver's not open downfield, he lays it out in the flat, and he's got a guard or a tackle or a center pulling out in front of him.
Here's Jackson, flag down. He drives into the end zone, but a penalty marker was thrown on the play.
That's in the holding area. When that official in that position throws the ball, he's seeing something in the interior part of the line, and usually it's a hold.
And again, a penalty. Rises up and strikes down the Washington Redskins touchdown. No, Joe Gibbs is so concerned about the penalties this week that at one workout he brought an official out.
Well, they had 11 penalties last week, and that prompted bringing the official into practice. So he
Holding,
is
number 74, offense, 2nd down.
It's big George Stark, their one experienced lineman, got caught with a hold. But they have summarized the problem so far. Injuries and mistakes have been the key to the Redskins' slow start. And of course today they've got a key penalty, and they do have 1 turnover.
2nd and 14 now as the ball is back on the 17, and THEISMANN throwing it, drills it over the middle. Good pass, and Don Warren pulls it down at the 5, 3 yards short of the first down. And some boos rising from above, I think directed toward the inability of the Cardinals defense to stop the Redskins at this point. THEISMANN is 2 out of 2. Jackson already has 8 carries for 59 yards.
Well, THEISMANN drilled that in. That was an excellent pass. It was between Favoron, number 59, the linebacker, and Lee Nelson, the strong safety. The tight end Warren did a good move, turned inside, got the linebacker to freeze, and then turned outside quickly before the strong safety got over there, and THEISMANN drilled it on perfect timing.
3rd down, 3. THEISMANN again to Warren, stopped at the 4, short of the first down by a couple of yards.
Now he got rid of this ball pretty quickly. The only chance he has is to look downfield another second. Let the linebackers drop off of Warren, but He didn't have Nelson react downfield, and Favron's over there also. It was just thrown too quickly out in the flat to get a touchdown. And they needed the touchdown, or at least to the 1-yard line for the first down, and they got neither.
This will be a 22-yard effort by Mosley. He is 1 out of 3 this year. And his missed efforts, in fact, all of his field goal attempts have been from outside the 40-yard line. So this is far and away the closest shot he's had this year. And we are tied. Fine drive by the Redskins, most of it on the ground. 6 minutes, 1 second left to play in the opening period here at Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis. It's the Redskins 3 and the Cardinals 3.
If your morning shave has turned into a nightmare, gotcha. Wake up to the exclusive twin-action Norelco Rotatract razor. Inside 3 floating heads, twin-action grips and raises hair up, then razors hair off, closer than ever. For twin blade closeness without a nick or cut, the twin-action Norelco Rotatract razor, cord or rechargeable. Because for close shaves,
there's no action like twin action.
You know, as soon as you settle into the leather-trimmed bucket seat and shift into first, Cimarron is a new kind of Cadillac for a new kind of Cadillac owner. With front-wheel drive, rack and pinion steering, and Cadillac's exclusively tuned touring suspension. Plus the best mileage estimates in Cadillac history. Cimarron, now at all Cadillac dealers.
Best of all, it's my Cadillac.
Scores of other games. Ted Brown in a 1-yard touchdown run has given Minnesota the lead over Detroit. Cleveland, Cincinnati. Field goal in the first period, 3-0. Dave Jacobs on a 29-yarder. And the Jets in Pittsburgh both winless going into this game. Russell Davis on a 9-yard run for the score. Stump Mitchell, the middleman, and the kickoff return flanked by Roy Green and Willard Harrell. Mosley, towering, high kickoff. Here comes the stumper. 15, 20. Leading kickoff returner in the National Football Conference, and we get a marker thrown on the kickoff play. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals and the National Football League is prohibited. Our referee today, Bob McElwee, the umpire Al Conway, head linesman Norm Kragseth, line judge John Everett, back judge Ray Douglas, the side judge Bob Rice, and the field judge Ed Merrifield.
Illegal use of the hands, number 52 on the return team. First down.
So the penalty on the return going against Charles Baker off the specialty team of the St. Louis Cardinals, which moves him back to the 11-yard line. And they come out with Pat Tilley and Roy Green set off to the left side, off to the right of your screen as you watch it. Jim Hart at quarterback. Green. Mr. Versatility in motion. Otis Anderson. Out to the 13, another flag. It's like a preseason game with the number of flags we've had here in the first quarter on both sides.
We had a chance to see St. Louis against Dallas last week, and here's an interesting statistic. About 46 yards, and Jim Hart will catch the man. There's a couple booths down the way here. Sonny Jurgensen, who's one of the truly great quarterbacks. Jim should do that today.
Well, he's got 15 yards already.
Encroachment, number 57 defense, lined up in the neutral zone. First down.
Rich Malott, the Redskin linebacker. That's a careless mistake, especially when you're talking about penalties all week long, and they've been killing him with the first 2 games.
Last week, St. Louis was being penalized on the kickoff team too, and that's something you just don't like. When you get a decent run back and good field position, then they set you back inside the 15 or 10-yard line. Those kind of things kill you, and you just can't have those mistakes and have good, consistent drives and offense.
Atlanta with a 10-point jump on San Francisco in their game at Atlanta. 1st and 5. Hart giving to Anderson, looking for running room. A yard, maybe 2, and then jammed up by Coy Bacon, number 79, the elder statesman of the Redskins defensive line, who admits to being 38 years of age, but some have questioned that.
Well, he still comes to play. Was going to be relegated to mainly pass rushing, but due to some injuries and some other problems, Coy Bacon is playing basically almost the whole game for the Redskins.
2nd down, 3. Cardinals at the 18-yard line. Pat Tilley in motion. Jim Hart calling those signals. Wayne Morris trying to get outside and does. Picks up the first and down the sidelines to the 27-yard line. First down. Wayne Morris starting today in place of the injured Theodis Brown. A great versatile back for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Good move by Wayne Morris here. It's a handoff. He looks like he's got some problems. He makes a little dip inside right there. Deerdorf does a good job holding his block on big Matt Mendenhall, and Morris gets to the outside and shows some speed down the sideline.
So first down for the Cardinals at their 27-yard line after a pickup of 9 yards on the play. Morris figures for last year, averaging just under 4 yards per carry. Score is tied at 3. Nice fake by Hart, and he sends it out for Green. Green got behind his man, in this case the bird, Joe Lavender, and not a very good pass thrown by Hart.
No, if the field was wider, it would have been all right, but that was definitely thrown out of bounds. I would say Roy Green had a step on him and a perfect pass, and he could have caught it.
Hart has worked out most of this week, shared the duties with Neil Lomax, who started against Dallas last week. Miami got a 42-yard field goal from Uwe van Schamen to get the jump on Houston in their game down at the Astrodome. Jim Hart in his 16th year in the National Football League. Every time he throws a pass, completes one, sets Cardinal club records, and of course he's moving up in the NFL records as well. 2nd and 10 from the 26. On the delay, Anderson out to the 30-yard line. A pickup of 3. It'll be 2nd down, 7. Anderson's had a couple of 100-yard performances against the Redskins in his 2-year career, but he has never rushed for a touchdown against Washington in 83 carries.
Well, the Redskins have had the Cardinals number 9 out of the last 10 times, and they've pretty well shut down the Cardinals' strengths when they've played them. Last year it was the passing game, and really held Anderson intact considering what Anderson's capable of doing.
3rd down. Cardinals need 7 for the first down from their 30. Tilley in motion. Hart. Blitz is on. The pass is blocked. Well, it could have been Butts, number 65, who blew through there. We've talked about homecoming for Metcalf. It's also a homecoming for number 65, Big Dave Butts.
Dave Butts was traded to Washington. One of the interesting trades. Washington gave up 2 first rounds and a 2nd. Dave Butts is a fine football player. He's tough against the run. He's big, and he's been playing well. To give up 2 firsts and a 2nd, you question, but it was a big trade. One of the biggest in the league.
That was in the George Allen days. Birdsong back to do the punting, and Virgil Say, the rookie, deep man, standing on about his 25-yard line. Fair catch. Say pulls it down at the 35-yard line. Butts, of course, 6'7", so he's blocked a pass or 2 in his day.
He's one of the big people in football. Here he comes in on this last pass that Jim Hart was trying to get into Pat Tilley, and he makes a move. It's a kind of a loop. Mendenhall's coming inside, number 76, and Butts loops around him, going to the outside, hoping to get the Cardinals confused. The protection was pretty good, but he jumped at the right time and knocked the ball down.
4 minutes left in the opening period, and the score is tied at 3.
Polaroid sun camera is a new system with a piece of the sun inside. It can turn bad light into good pictures.
What's wrong with that, son?
It's never where you want it, like now. See, you've never been so sure of an instant picture.
Perfect. What's it do in good light?
Then it uses just enough of its own light to touch up the small shadows. You use it on every shot. It can make any picture better.
I'll buy that.
They're going fast, folks.
Never been so sure.
At GMC, we've been all about trucks for over 75 years. In fact, it seems that whenever a truck job comes along, there's a GMC dealer with a truck to do it. Big, small, and in-between size GMCs, shouldering the load and keeping an eye on costs. Like our new 82 trucks with a new 6.2-liter diesel engine, available in full-size pickups, Suburbans, and four-wheel drive Jimmies. Offering a full line of trucks is our full-time job at GMC, because trucks are what we're all about.
Saturday, catch the Love Bug on the premiere of Walt Disney, starring Dean Jones and Michelle Lee. It's freewheeling fun with the Love Bug on Walt Disney Saturday.
Frank Lieber with Roger Staubach. Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis. 4:03 left in the opening period. Score tied at 3. And the Redskins have the football after the 35-yard punt by Birdsong. 1st and 10 at their 35. Theismann with good protection drills it and finds his receiver for the first down. He's been on target. Ricky Thompson, who scored the touchdown for the Redskins last week against the New York Giants, picks up the first at the 48.
We got a play action here. Theismann fakes to Wilbur Jackson. He's got 2 tight ends in the game, so Jackson can basically run to either side, and that's why they were having success before. This time he fakes it to Jackson, holds the linebackers, and lets Monk get in front of Ricky Thompson get in front of Tim Collier.
He's got Greg McCrary in there at tight end, who's just come in on this play. Jackson taking the handoff and continues to drive forward, picking up some excellent yardage on the ground as he moves it into Cardinal territory at the 45-yard line. Falcons are really pouring it on San Francisco. This is still in the opening period, and Atlanta leads it 17-0. Lynn Kane scoring on a 18-yard pass from Bartkowski, who's thrown 2 touchdown passes. And the Oilers have scored on Miami and lead them 7-3 in the opening period. Our score 3-3. Redskins and the Cardinals. 2nd down 3. Washington at the St. Louis 45. Wilbur Jackson slowed down at the line of scrimmage, breaks loose, doing a great job of running, and picks up a first at the 35. And you can hear the boos now for the shoddy tackling on the part of the Cardinals. Nevertheless, you got to give Jackson some credit.
Really a lot of credit there. And of course, this is a different Redskin football team here running the ball. Here's Jackson going outside. Charlie Baker, number 52, breaks through right here. He has him stopped, but Jackson has enough acceleration to get back inside, and Dawson, 73, misses him, and finally Pollard, number 82, all the way from the other side, brings him down, or he would have scored.
1st and 10. Nose of the football just inside the Cardinal 34-yard line. Wansley on a flea flicker, back to Theismann, throws long, and that's 6 points. Ricky Thompson. That's the oldest play in the books, the flea flicker. As Wansley, the fullback, tossed it back to Theismann, and he drilled Ricky Thompson. Actually, he had 2 men wide open. Art Monk was also wide open coming down the near sidelines.
Well, here's the play. It's a handoff to the fullback right here. Fullback stops, pitches it back. Theismann gets a little pressure right here from the linebackers, but then he sees Thompson coming over the middle, drills it right on the money, and of course Ken Green, the safety, was confused. He came up, number 37, and then tried to get back, but it was too late. Thompson made the play, and it was a excellent execution, a good play. That's the area to do it into that plus territory, 30-yard range, and the Redskins pulled it off.
Mosley tacks on the extra point. And the Redskins offense, which has been invisible the first 2 weeks of the season, showing signs of coming to life today against the St. Louis Cardinals. Coming up next week on CBS Sports Saturday. A lot of talk, of course, about boxing and the welterweight fight the other night. Here's a guy continues to try to make his comeback. Roberto Duran. Can he do it?
That's a great story. Duran came back in his last fight, looked good. He's got another shot here before I guess the big rematch someday with Sugar Ray, but Duran is a gritty, tough fighter, and it should be a great boxing match.
Luigi MINCHILLO is his opponent. He's the European welterweight champion from Italy, and a good one. There's Jim Hannafin, the head coach of the St. Louis Cardinals, with the headset. Interesting story, too, about Hannafin and about Joe Gibbs, who coached here in St. Louis together under Don Coryell.
They were together here for 3 or 4 years, and in San Diego they were together a year. Gibbs today is showing what he's made of. He's a great offensive coach, and I think based on what we know about him, have met him, he's going to be a fine football coach in Washington. He's making some adjustments today. He's changing some philosophy, using 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, a fullback. They've come in to run the football, which goes against Air Gibbs, but they're doing a good job of it.
High kick and rather short this time. Stump Mitchell was high enough to signal for a fair catch. 15-20. 25-30. Mitchell down the sidelines and bumped out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Fine return by the number 9 draft pick from the Citadel. One of the real surprises to come out of the NFL draft this year. Number 2 rusher in the country last year to George Rogers. 30 yards on the return.
This Redskins specialty team has always had a great reputation I don't believe this year they're playing as well as they have in the past. They're making some mistakes. There's been some penalties, some turnovers, some fumbles, and they've let teams get out of trouble more so than an old Redskin specialty team has done in the past.
1st and 10, Cardinals at their 42-yard line. Jim Hart back to throw it. Protection is good. Down the middle it comes, and that is good for 6 points to Roy Green.
Boy, you put that one on the money, Frank.
Green's first touchdown reception in the National Football League in his first start as a wide receiver.
He beats Joe Lavender. It's off of a play action fake, and Lavender must have froze for just a split second. Green gets behind him, and Hart leads him. Lavender started to catch up with the ball, made Green run for the ball, and he did. He ran for it. He caught it. Excellent play. Good throw off of a fine play action fake.
58 yards on the touchdown. And O'Donohue will try to tie it up here with 1:45, and he has it blocked. So the Redskins maintain their lead at 10-9 as the block came up the middle. Roy Green, he's quite a story today, as we outlined at the start of the show.
Roy Green, number 25. Going down, the play action fake is right here. Lavender looks into the backfield for one split second, but Green's speed, he's very fast. He gets behind Lavender. Lavender can't catch him. The ball's thrown in stride. Lavender starts to catch up. They're looking for it, but the ball's thrown in stride, and Green makes the catch. And good concentration. Jim Hart likes Roy Green. He says he's a defensive back. As far as his attitude, he's nasty. He'll go in and he'll catch the ball. He'll get into a crowd and catch it. He's got good hands. Of course, that time it was just a good throw, and he was free for the touchdown.
Well, there's Jim Hart, and with that throw, he has just moved past Sonny Jurgensen as the 4th leading all-time career passer. And speaking of Jurgie, this shot taken to Sonny down on the sidelines. Before the game, he is now a Redskins radio broadcaster in the booth to our right. I don't know how you feel about it when someone passes one of your records. You've had that happen to you in Dallas with Danny White.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
Well, it's inevitable. I'm a fan of Sonny Jurgensen. Well, I saw him playing back in the old days. And
Metcalf out to the 16. A little bit tentative bringing that one back.
He's a great quarterback.
Stump Mitchell came up with the tackle. Well, it's fortunate for the Cardinals that Green didn't forget where he was playing and knocked that pass down. I mean, once a defensive back for your entire college and pro career.
It was a big extra point we saw blocked. Matt Mendenhall, number 76, got a hand on it, and it changes the perspective with a Redskin 1-point lead.
Wide open offensive game so far on both sides. Metcalf back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. When Metcalf was introduced, he got somewhat of a mixed greeting here in St. Louis. Interesting feature on Terry this morning on the CBS News, the Charles Carroll's program, Sunday morning. Trying to come back, people questioning whether he still got it. 5 years here in St. Louis, great favorite. Then left in a contract dispute, played 3 years in Canada, and now trying to come back with the Redskins. The Cardinals got a 5th-round draft choice from the Redskins this year in exchange for the rights. Flag down as Metcalf carries out beyond the 20-yard line.
I think the Redskins had illegal formation. The tight end was off the line of scrimmage, and if that flanker back isn't on the line of scrimmage, you have some problems. That flag was thrown pretty quickly, and it looked like a formation problem. But I guess it wasn't.
Good try, Roger.
It must have been on St. Louis.
It certainly must have. Well,
someone was lined up off sides because it happened very quickly. The flag was thrown before the play almost.
You just caught it from up here, and the officials didn't catch it, see? Here's a call from the referee, Bob McElwee.
Encroachment, number 75 defense, lined up in the neutral zone. Second down.
So the encroachment penalty against the St. Louis Cardinals, Curtis Greer. Ball is at the 21-yard line, 2nd down, 5. Redskins leading 10-9. We're down to 56 seconds left to play in the opening period. Jackson Jackson, prior to that play, had rushed 12 times in the first quarter for 82 yards. That's a very impressive figure for a team that hasn't run the football. That's another first down. Wilbur Jackson, of course, obtained from San Francisco. Cost the Skins a couple of draft choices last year when they didn't have Riggins with him. Theismann hadn't done badly either, has he?
He's using his people real well, hitting those tight ends in the seam, and he's 5 for 5.
First and 10 from the 27-yard line. Wilbur Jackson stopped this time after a pickup of just a couple of yards short of the 30-yard line.
Of course, the Redskins have, on the first part of this drive, used the 2 running backs at the same time, Jackson and Metcalf, 2 wide receivers, a tight end. They've gone back to what was successful early in the game of using 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and having Jackson back in the backfield. That's been a good formation for him. Jackson can pick his way. He's got a tight end on each side. He can run to either side, and he can pick his way. And we have a injured Cardinal on the field right now.
That's Eric Williams, one of the inside linebackers, number 55. We're perusing the press guide, and I noticed he named his son after J.V. Kane.
They were very close, good friends. J.V. Kane was a #1 draft choice of the Cardinals, and he had an untimely death in training camp. A great tight end, an excellent tight end, was coming back from some surgery and was looking good in training camp, and died on the field. And it was a tremendous loss to the Cardinals, losing a fine person, and Eric named his son after J.V.
Well, that's something you got to be familiar with, the old smelling salts treatment. That'll do it for you, won't it? You've had that a few times.
A few times. Sometimes it worked, and sometimes it didn't. But it's not a knee or it's not a shoulder, and Coach Landry said, well, it's only his head when it happened to me. I don't know what
only his head.
That's right.
Williams, fine inside linebacker.
Wonder why they nicknamed him Red.
Can't understand why. Appears to be all right. He'll come out for a breather for a couple of plays or so. And E.J. Jr., number 54, the #1 draft pick of the Cardinals, has replaced him. Jim Hannafin. They got off to a lousy start last year, wound up 5-11. Hannafin trying to prevent it from happening this year. That's the end of the first quarter as the gun sounds with the score. The Redskins 10 and the Cardinals 9.
You know people like us, we're teachers. Firemen, people just like you. These are the uniforms we wear at work.
But these are the uniforms we wear when we serve part-time in the Reserves and the National Guard.
You see, in the Reserves and the Guard, you not only serve your country,
you're part of a first-rate team.
Training alongside real buddies.
Yet while you serve, you can live at home.
And keep your full-time job.
Because in the Reserves and the Guard, you don't have to give up one life to live another.
The Reserves and the National Guard. Talk to your local recruiter.
The 1981 Honda Prelude is a pleasure to look at in many different ways. You can look at it as a sporty car with front-wheel drive and sleek, racy looks. You can look at it as a comfortable car with a luxurious interior and power steering that comes with the optional automatic. You can look at it as an economy car after
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Honda. We're kicking off our season with an all-pro lineup of cars. Honda, we make it simple. And by the Champion Spark Plug Company, the Spark Plug Specialist.
Frank Lieber with Roger Staubach at Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis as we head into the second period. It is 2nd and 8 with the ball at the 29-yard line of the Washington Redskins. Now, you and I saw the Redskins against the Cowboys a couple of weeks ago. Are they showing a lot of different things today, Roger?
Well, this is the big formation here. You've got the 2 wide receivers and 2 tight ends and Wilbur Jackson in the backfield.
One setback, and that's Jackson, and he's been very busy on the receiving end of that pass. Looking for some blocking help and struggling forward near the first down, but just short of it at the 35-yard line. Curtis Greer, number 75, made the stop. Big #1 draft choice a year ago out of Michigan. So Jackson with a very busy afternoon. As Roger mentioned, he had an outstanding preseason, but John Riggins was anointed with the #1 job. Riggins came down with a knee hurt last week against the New York Giants. Jackson getting a big opportunity and making the most of it thus far as he's approaching the 100-yard rushing mark individually. On 3rd and 2, Jackson stopped short this time. Virtually no gain, not close enough for the first down. And the Cardinals will have to punt. You know, Jackson has almost picked up as much yardage rushing as the Redskins had for their first 2 games.
That's exactly right. He's done an excellent job running the football, and they're blocking good at the point of attack. He's got the ability with those 2 tight ends to run to either side, and the blocking's been good, and he's been picking his way.
We'll keep you abreast of other scores throughout the course of the afternoon. San Francisco has finally scored on Atlanta. Stump Mitchell is the deep man standing at the 20, and Mike Connell to do the punting for the Washington Redskins standing on his 20. Skins have big Dexter Manley going down as their deep man. Mitchell at the 30, 35, and runs into a huge traffic jam at about the 37-yard line. And St. Louis goes to the offense once again. 1st and 10. Redskins leading the Cardinals by a margin of a blocked extra point.
This is the idea behind the IBM Electronic 75 typewriter, to help secretaries be more productive automatically. It has automatic retyping and revision, automatic centering and underlining, automatic erasing and column layout. The IBM Electronic 75 typewriter. It saves time, and whatever saves time is more productive, automatically.
Miss Jones, are these your gloves?
He was as practical as any of us, but he hid it well. Behind a certain flair and style of living, even the car he drove, a 1982 Cutlass Supreme. An Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. To the casual observer, it was the epitome of style, offering no visible clue as to how practical the man who owned it really was. You see, he knew. Even today, there's still room to do it with style.
Why is television the way it is? Some answers from Hollywood and Madison Avenue when 60 Minutes unveils a brand new story tonight on CBS.
Cardinals 1st and 10 from their 38-yard line. Cardinals been wrapped a lot because of the lack of success of their drafts in recent years, but in the last 2 or 3, they have really come along. Got some excellent personnel out of those drafts. Jim Hart is at 2 of his first 5 throws so far. Dave Stieff, number 84, in motion, and the big man, O.J. Anderson, gets the call. Gets a yard. I believe he's a marked man today. Talking about the draft, though, out of the 79 draft, of course, that's where Anderson came. The first 5 picks of the Cardinals are now starters. Out of the 80 draft, they have 7 players left on the team. And they have 9 rookies out of this year's draft on the team. So they've kind of turned around in that area.
It's been a big difference. When you see a running back like Anderson going up that line of scrimmage and having to shift gears so many times, something is not going right in the running game. The blocking is breaking down, or the Redskins are doing a good job on defense. He's not running straight ahead. He's juking too much at the line of scrimmage.
It's a good point. 2nd down 9. Hart goes to the air. Pass is incomplete, intended for the tight end LaFleur at about the 50-yard line. Hard throw, but catchable. Neil Okowitz, the middle linebacker, defending. Redskins are very thin at the linebacker position, particularly since they lost Monty Coleman last week, who was perhaps their best linebacker.
Monty Coleman's developing into one of the best linebackers in the NFL. He's got great speed, good range. He's getting some experience now, and they're going to miss him for a few weeks.
3rd down 9. Jim Hannafin spent a lot of extra time with the Cardinals offensive line this week. They've had their problems first couple of games, despite the fact they're pretty much a veteran outfit. As far, it hasn't paid off that well. Hart out of the pocket, hits Anderson over the middle at the 50. Rich Malott, number 57, grabbed hold of his jersey. He's a tough man to tackle just by the jersey. That's a first down at the 46 of Washington.
There was a little confusion. Anderson went in motion out to the left. Malott started to go out, then he hesitated, then he went back out, and he had Anderson man-to-man, but there was some confusion. But Malott had to take him, and of course the play was set up well, and Hart hit him on the numbers.
16 yards in the pickup.
OJ is saying something to Malott.
What do you think he's saying?
I wouldn't say anything until the game was over, to tell you the truth.
First down, Cardinals driving at the Redskin 44-yard line, trailing 10-9 in the second period. Wayne Morris bumps it outside, cuts back in, takes it inside the 40 to the 39, and a
They're
yellow
going to
flag.
get Dave Steef out there, number 84, kind of walked around the linebacker and pushed him in the back.
Joe Sensor just got a 5-yard touchdown pass from Tommy Kramer. They get 14-0. So it goes against the Cardinals, and a huge groan goes up from this capacity crowd of 51,000.
That was unnecessary too, because Morris really didn't get any use out of that push block, and he pushed him in the back. It's kind of a late block.
Illegal use of the body. Number 84, offense. Blocking from behind, above the waist.
And that tells the story pretty well. Moves the football back to the 49-yard line of the Cardinals end of the field. And it is now first down and 16. Steve in motion for St. Louis. Hart. Good protection. Sideline throw to Steve. Made the catch, goes out of bounds, short of the first down at the 38-yard line. However, bring it back. Holding. Coming up against St. Louis. I thought he had extra good protection. Hart was injured in the first quarter of the Cardinals' first game, suffered a knee injury after completing 3 out of 5 passes.
Holding, number 68, offense. First down.
Terry Stieff. There he is, number 68, guilty of the holding call. That's when he wanted to duck into that huddle and just disappear. So now the Cardinals, as a result of 2 penalties, are back on their own 39. That's quite a few penalties for this early in the game.
Yeah, they've got a first and 27, so you don't want to go for the whole ball of wax here. You want to maybe get the 10 to 15-yard area, take something that you can get, and worry about second down. If you go for everything, you're in second 27.
Trying to set up the screen over the middle. Nobody there to receive it. Anderson was in the middle of a traffic jam there. Couldn't get loose.
Well, the Redskins recognized that. Dave Butts started to come in strong. He saw the screen. He backed off. Coy Bacon slid over there. Also, Olkowitz was in the area. So they had that play pretty well under control.
Hart still receives his plays from the sidelines. They signal the plays in from the bench. And for a 16-year quarterback, you begin to wonder a little bit. I know you're the wrong guy to ask about that.
I'm a big believer in the quarterback calling the plays, but that's not the philosophy overall in the NFL.
Not anymore, no matter how many years experience you've had. Second and 27. Willard Harrell in motion. He caught a touchdown pass last week against Dallas. Hart trying to get it away. Anderson off his fingertips. Appears to be, well, I think Anderson is complaining to the officials now that he was held up at the line of scrimmage and couldn't move out. But no penalty call on this one.
Dexter Manley, number 72, even though it was a screen, someone released him too quickly. There was too much pressure too quickly on Hart. And someone covered up there at the line of scrimmage for the screen. So the Redskins had pressure, plus they had someone there to take the screen away. Here's number 72 coming from the right side of your screen that puts the pressure on there. Plus Kaufman, the linebacker, number 55, was in the area and he recognized screen. So the Redskins did a good job.
Anderson looking at that replay, claiming that Kaufman interfered with him rather than held him up, really. But now St. Louis with a 3rd and 27 upcoming from their 38-yard line. Hart, sideline throw. Green is out there. He's got it. Oh, fine catch by Roy Green.
He got behind Lamar Parrish this time, but Jim Hart laid it in there perfectly. He had some pressure on him, and he laid it up. And Green, with that quickness of his, got behind Parrish before Mark Murphy, the safety, number 29, was over there.
That's a first down.
This is a 3rd and long, and there was a double team with Parrish was running with Green, Murphy was going to be there to help deep, and Hart just laid it perfectly to the outside, to the sidelines, and Green ran under it. Here's Parrish running with him. He knows he's got help deep, but Hart fades the ball to the outside in just perfect position to catch it, and of course Green had good concentration on the ball.
35 yards on the play and a first down for the Cardinals at the 27-yard line of the Washington Redskins. They go back to the ground. Anderson trying to get outside. Runs into heavy traffic at the line of scrimmage. Has to fight to get to the 25. Pickup of a yard on the play. It'll be second down 9.
You know, on first down, you always have a force man on defense. A force man is someone that's going to turn and run inside. Sometimes it's the linebackers going wide to the outside or the strong safety coming across. Tony Peters, number 23, is an aggressive strong safety. He was the force man. He came across, and Anderson had no chance to the outside.
Malott comes out of the game, and Kevin Turner comes in at a linebacker position. Well, Green's off to a pretty good start, I'd say, in his first game as a wide receiver.
Not bad.
10 minutes, 20 seconds left in the first half. Redskins leading 10-9. Cardinals threatening, 2nd and 9 at the Washington 25. Steve starting in motion. Hard to throw it. Wayne Morris, the intended receiver.
Well, they were testing Kevin Turner, number 54, the linebacker. Wayne Morris is swinging out of the backfield, and Kevin Turner, 54, had a man-to-man down the sidelines, and they were pretty even.
Hart seemed a little mad at himself after throwing that pass. So we said Jim's been around 16 years. You've played against him many years. What would you say are his strongest attributes?
Well, he's very smart. He's got a good arm, good release, and Jim Hart has been just a solid quarterback in that pocket position. He's not a scrambler, and an excellent arm, though. He's got good anticipation, and he also can drill the ball when he has to. His arm is not into the Bradshaw Cannon category, but it's strong, and he can do. He's got a good touch in the short passes also.
Big play in this drive. 3rd down 9 for the Cardinals at the 25. A flag goes down. Looked like Harrell was in motion. Pass is complete to Anderson. That would be good for a first down, but there was a marker down as it looked like 2 men started in motion. Harrell started, so did Anderson, and that's a no-no.
That's illegal.
Harrell stopped rather quickly, but the officials caught him.
He would have been all right in Canada. You can have people in motion, 2 people, but here you cannot do it.
So the officials will bring it back with yet another penalty flag. And a Cardinal first down is wiped out. Ball is moved back to the 30.
Illegal shift. 2 backs in motion on the offense. 3rd down.
So a penalty of 5 yards in the play makes it 3rd and 14 for the Cardinals at the 30-yard line of the Washington Redskins. You want to call one here? What do you think?
Well, they overcame a 3rd and 27. 3rd and 14, based on what the Redskins want to do, they're going to double the wide receivers, and I look for maybe a tight end over the middle. Well, no, Roy Green's a good back. Boy, he's going.
Green was flanked off to the right. Hart's in trouble, gets it away, but can't put anything on it.
Jim Hart mentioned one of the things the Cardinals had to do was to beat the Redskin blitz on 3rd down, and sure enough, that time it was a blitz. There was pressure immediately by Rich Malott, number 57, and Hart didn't have much of a chance. His receivers were man-to-man downfield. It's number 57 coming in on the blitz, and also Kevin Turner, 54, and they just applied too much pressure, and that was it.
This will be a 47-yard attempt by Neil O'Donoghue to put the Cardinals back in the lead. And an extra point blocked earlier. This one is long enough. It is good. Neil O'Donoghue, who came to the Cardinals after playing with Tampa Bay, playing at a big dividend.
The 1980 Winter Olympics. Hockey team captain Mike Ruzioni helped clinch the gold for the U.S.
I'm Mike Ruzioni, the artist. Budweiser asked me to paint with these to help raise funds for America's Olympic athletes. Now you can own my painting and help our athletes train for 84. After all, there are a lot of Picassos. There's only one, Ruzioni.
Call 1-800-325-1488 for more information.
Homeowners insurance or car insurance, when you have a claim, you want fast, fair service. State Farm agents see that you get it. For some claims, we can even pay you right on the spot.
On other claims, your agent works with experienced State Farm claims specialists. Whether it's a homeowner's claim or a dent in your fender, we work as a team to give you fast, fair service.
State Farm teamwork.
It takes the hassle out of claims.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Next weekend on CBS Sports Saturday, Roberto Duran continues to fight his way back to the top as he faces European super welterweight champion Luigi Minchillo next weekend on CBS Sports Saturday.
That ought to be a great fight. It'll be early afternoon in Vegas, though, and it could be over 100 degrees. That'll be a test of Duran's conditioning for sure. He said he wasn't in shape for his first fight. We're ready to go. Neil O'Donoghue will kick off for the St. Louis Cardinals, who are back in the lead 12-10 with 9:49 left in the first half. Terry Metcalf in the center of that receiving formation. Fumble inside the 5. Metcalf picked it up after Nelms fumbled it, and Metcalf is drilled at the 11-yard line.
Well, he was drilled. He went down fast in the stock market, Frank. He was really hit.
Stump Mitchell, number 30 on the stop.
Well, they got the stump. They got Roy Green, 25, and Randy Love, all excellent specialty team people.
Nelms, of course, playing with a fractured thumb that he hurt in the final preseason game. He's had trouble hanging onto the football. Came up with a critical fumble last week against the Giants. So poor field position for the Redskins as they start this drive from the 11. Ricky Thompson, who's been very evident this afternoon, out to the 16-yard line for a pickup of 5. This is where you quarterbacks like to have it, don't you? 2nd and 5.
2nd and 5. You can do anything you want to do, and the defense is the one that's got the pressure on them. 2nd, 8 or 9, the offense has the pressure on them.
San Francisco closing in on Atlanta a little bit after the Falcons were up 17-0 in the first quarter. San Francisco has shaped it to 17-10. 2nd and 5. Joe Theismann. He put it in the air 48 times last week. He's a perfect 7 out of 7 today. Jackson. Nothing.
Well, there's E.J. Jr., Frank. E.J. is the one that made the play, came out of his linebacking, inside linebacking position, and got to the outside, shed a block, and made a nice tackle.
Junior is a good one, number 54. The 5th man selected in the draft this year, one of Bear Bryant's prizes from Alabama, and going to be an outstanding linebacker in the National Football League.
Well, the reason you see those linebackers coming out, they bring in some extra defensive backs. Roger Worley's one of them, and they play their 3rd down prevent type defense with 4 linemen rushing.
3rd down, let's call it 6 for the first down. Theismann almost intercepted. And guess who it was? Roy Green. Well, fortunately for Roy, he's catching them on offense today.
That's right. There he is. He's in there on defense. He's got Harmon man-to-man, and the ball's thrown behind him, so it was not a good throw. But Roy Green also had a chance for an interception.
I don't know how many years you have to go back to find a guy who's gone both ways, because he's not going all the way on defense. Mike Connell to punt, and Mitchell is the deep man standing at about the 45. Connell on his goal line. Had a punt 10 times last week against the Giants.
Well, that's a good one to run back.
Short punt. Mitchell at the 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 10. Harmon takes a shot at him. Touchdown.
No flags. Well, he went north and south, Frank. He took his chances with that first battery of Redskins, and he said, to heck with it. I'm going to try to get through them. Once he got through them, his speed to the sidelines was very quick.
He doesn't want to let go of the football. He's still got the ball.
When he catches this ball, you got a choice to try to juke those first few downfield, those red jerseys. He decided to try to run right through them and hope for the best. And here he makes his move and his decision. He goes north and south, right here, and he's missed by a couple of Redskins, and he breaks to the sideline, and it's all over. The stump has got good speed, and he just heads his way into the end zone. Clarence Harmon's the only one, number 38, that had a chance at him.
Extra point is good by O'Donoghue. And the Cardinals now lead the Redskins 19-10 with 7:58 left in the first half.
Yes, I'm responsible for the quality of the engine that comes out of here. Without the people on the line being a part of it, I don't have a chance.
At Ford Motor Company, quality is more than a priority. Quality is job one.
We have to do it. We are the ones that are basically responsible for the quality.
Better and better, see what we've done. And Ford quality is job one.
Sears Step Up in Comfort sale is going on now. Sears Comfort Suit, on sale for $79.99. Save $30 and step up to comfort in special action features like stretch fabric, stretch waistband, even the vest stretches. Then save on Sears Tone-on-Tone dress shirt, now only $6.59. You'll save 40% on the shirt, $30 on the suit, and you'll be sitting on top of the world quite comfortably. For savings in menswear, you can count on Sears.
Well, the crowd has come alive here, 19-10. O'Donoghue preparing to kick off. Metcalf is deep. So is Nelms. And the Redskins specialty teams are killing them. Penalties. Returns. Metcalf fumbles it at the goal line. Out to the 15. We can show you one more angle of that punt return of Stump Mitchell's, and I think he scores on this one too.
Livonia Mitchell, better known as the Stump. Catches this. It's a kind of a short punt. He makes his move right here. Goes by Jeff Bostic, number 53. Breaks to the outside, and there's no race for Connell, but Harmon's the only one that had a chance, and Stump showed a little speed there at the end.
And a little emotion as well. Young man from the Citadel.
It's a 9th round draft choice. I don't know how you pass a guy up like that. He had a good reputation in school as a football player, a good guy, and he's showing his stuff today.
Jackson bounces off Tim Collier and gets outside beyond the 20-yard line. Of course, the computer, I'm sure, spit the Stump out because he's only 5'9".
That's right.
With all those fancy computers, the one thing they have yet to figure out that a computer can't measure is a guy's heart and his determination to play the game.
Right, there's the intangibles that computer can't measure, and Stump has got those intangibles. He's been a fine running back in preseason. Did an excellent job coming out of that I formation in place of Otis Anderson. So he's not only a specialty man, they like him as a runner also.
Theismann looks left, throws right. That's Monk. Monk breaks a tackle at the 50. Foot race to the goal line. He's at the 20 and he's gone. Theismann looking around for flags. I guess you do that almost automatically.
Well, Theismann did an excellent job right here. He's looking off. Lee Nelson is at fault. He's responsible for the deep area. Theismann splits the zone between Carl Allen, number 27. Lee Nelson, 38, gets over there too late, and then he misses the tackle, and it's all over. Monk's got good speed. He's a big receiver, an excellent receiver, and he's got speed. He can run with the football. Carl Allen's chasing him from behind, and it's all over. Lee Nelson, number 38, does a good job for the Cardinals, but here's the zone. Here's 27. He lets him get by him. He knows he's got help by Lee Nelson, but Nelson, 38's over there too late and misses the tackle, and it's all over.
79 yards. Theismann to Monk for the touchdown, and we've got quite a football game. Mosley tacking on the extra point. Cardinals 19 and the Redskins 17. And Roger and I'll be back in just a moment.
Stuttgart, West Germany. A very special Mercedes-Benz is coming home to the Mercedes test track. This 1968 diesel from Oregon has been driven over 1 million miles. And after 12 years of careful maintenance, a couple of engine overhauls, and a little luck, this million-mile Mercedes-Benz diesel can still hold its own with these new Mercedes-Benz diesels. Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world.
Hey, Gail, how's the drift? Great, very good. Good. Oh, no, not again. Wait, my stroke. Hey, look at that guy. Wait. Wow, he caught that jet. Hey, it's Gale Sayers. Boy, Mr. Sayers, you were really flying. Had to. Nobody's taking off with my strolls.
From one beer lover to another Strohs.
Saturday, catch The Love Bug on the premiere of Walt Disney, starring Dean Jones and Michelle Lee. It's freewheeling fun with The Love Bug on Walt Disney Saturday.
Here's Theismann. He knows what defense he has right here, Frank. He sees Lee Nelson back. He looks to his left to keep Nelson in the middle of the field. He knows it's a zone, puts it right between him. He doesn't know what happened right there. He was listening to the crowd noise, really. He didn't even see the completion.
That's probably the case on a lot of your touchdowns down through the years.
Finally, he's looking around and saying, hey, what happened over there? The crowd did not yell in his favor. He knew he was in St. Louis, so something good happened.
Mosley kicking off high and a bit short, and here comes Stump Mitchell again from the 15. 20, exciting player, out to the 30, and stops short of the 35-yard line.
We have a football game today. We've seen it all. Long passes, kickoff returns, punt returns.
And we've got half of the second quarter left, plus the whole second half. Other scores, Cleveland looks like it's on the road to winning one, but still a little bit early in the second period, 13-0. Over the Cincinnati Bengals. Newsom, 4-yard touchdown pass from Sipes, the latest score, and the Steelers going for their first win of the year after 2 setbacks, leading the Jets in the second period 17-3. Our score 19-17. Cardinals over the Redskins. 1st and 10 from the 33-yard line for the Cardinals. Anderson, tough man to bring down. Very close to a first down out to the 43-yard line. You know, this is a pretty good rivalry here. You hear a lot about Dallas, Washington, but the Cardinals and Redskins have no love for each other either.
That's exactly right. And here's Anderson. He's going straight ahead this time. A good turnout block by number 71, Bostic. Deerdorf gets his man, and Anderson runs straight ahead with that power, and he's finally collared by number 57, Malott, but he did a good job that time. Bostic got a nice block, and he just went straight ahead. He didn't try to juke anybody, and he got almost 10 yards.
Close enough for measurement, say the officials. Short by about a foot. O.J. Anderson has been held to 21 yards so far. Notice that the fans haven't given up on the Redskins yet. They had a big crowd in Washington yesterday afternoon, I hear.
It's about 250,000 to see him off.
Yeah. So obviously they're not down on him, I guess. Ball is at the 43-yard line. You got to watch those programs a little closer, right?
A lot of people in Washington.
He really did, yeah. Atlanta leading San Francisco 24-10 in the second period.
Well, the Redskins had a very disappointing game at home last week. The Cowboy game was one of those when it was all over. You said, hey, play here or play there. We could have done it. Last week they did not play well. Gibbs has got them going today. They're playing tough. They're giving up some big plays, but they're playing football. They're playing with enthusiasm, even though they're behind by a couple points right now.
This will drive you nuts today. Their offense is going and their defense isn't. Here's Wayne Morris. First down and a lot more as he plows out to the 50-yard line.
Well, their defense coming into this game was number 1 overall in the NFC. They number 11 against the rush, number 1 against the pass. So they have not shored up the rushing game. They started out well in the first quarter against the rush, but here we have Morris and Anderson making 2 fine runs here in the second quarter.
1st and 10. Cardinals from midfield, leading 19-17. Steve is wide to the right side. Nice hole. Wayne Morris, another first down. Down to the 37-yard line. So the Redskins defense, which played pretty well the first 2 weeks, now suddenly runs into big problems.
Here's Morris. He has a big hole there. Number 76 for the Redskins was caught out of position. Matt Mendenhall, and Morris got inside, and he's got good quickness. Morris has been a very durable, solid running back, and he's a fine blocker, good pass receiver. He and Theotis Brown have been going back and forth. Theotis is hurt today, and Wayne has stepped in and has made 2 fine runs here in the second quarter.
He's got 3 carries for 29 yards. Redskins may be paying too much attention to this man, Otis Anderson. Trying to pull free. and reaches the 34-yard line for a pickup of 4. It'll be second down 6. Otis Anderson. He's got to have the biggest running pads in, shoulder pads in pro football. I mean, those are bigger than any lineman I've ever seen.
He might just have bigger shoulders than anybody in pro football.
That may have a lot to do with it.
He's big. Upper body is big. Good strength in the upper body.
Officials mark it at the 34, so call it only a pickup of 3. Second down 7. Morris.
Boy, Dave Butts did an excellent job there, Frank. He wasn't faked by anything. Otis Anderson went to the outside, and they faked a little pitch and an inside handoff, and Dave Butts, number 65, just made a good, solid, experienced professional move and fine tackle.
Coming up next week, another fine schedule of NFL games on CBS. Depending on where you happen to be, you'll be watching a doubleheader. Redskins, of course, will be at Philadelphia. St. Louis fans will be watching Atlanta-Cleveland in the first game. Then St. Louis-Tampa in the second. And, of course, right after this game today, we've got the New Orleans Saints and the New York Giants. On 3rd and 7. Crowd wants the interference call, and they get it.
Tony Peters, I think he would have got away with this, Frank, if he hadn't put that right arm on the shoulder. Now, the referee in the middle of the field did not call it. The one from this side did call it. And I think he just saw that arm around the shoulder pad, and that's the reason he called it. But it was a kind of a late call, and really it wasn't the referee in the best position that made the call.
I think we can look at it again and see.
He does a good job on defense here. Watch that right arm that was on his right shoulder, and you can't do that. You can't put the right arm on the shoulder when you try to get the interception or knock the ball down.
So that means first down for the Cardinals, who have now reached the 27-yard line, and the Redskins trying to figure out some way how to slow this Cardinal offense, which has been very steady. Joe Gibbs doing a little patient on the sidelines. Anderson and Morris, the setbacks behind Jim Hart. Anderson upended at the line of scrimmage. Good defense that time on the left side of the Redskins line, stopping Anderson cold. Matt Mendenhall, number 76, leading the charge. Here's a battle of unbeatens. Kansas City, surprise team in the NFL this year, has a touchdown edge on San Diego in the first period. And Miami has forged ahead of Houston. Talk about surprise teams. I don't think anybody expected the Dolphins to look quite as good as they have in the early going. A tribute perhaps to Don Shula and his coaching ability. 2nd and 10. 2:50 left to go in the half. 19-17. Cardinals lead it. Hart back to throw. Pressure. Gets rid of it. He's got LaFleur, and that's a touchdown. Greg LaFleur, the tight end.
Jim Hart is putting the ball right in some very tight situations. An excellent throw by number 17 there, who is now number 4 on the all-time passing list. But he pumps a little over there to the left. He has LaFleur down the middle. He tries to get the safety. Watch that pump there, and bam, right over the middle. And it's Oklowitz has him man-to-man, but by that pump prevented Lavender from getting over there helping on the play. And Hart did an excellent job. Looked off the deep secondary and put LaFleur man-to-man on number 52, the linebacker, and LaFleur got behind him for the touchdown.
27 yards on the touchdown pass. Jim Hart to the tight end, Greg LaFleur. Donahue tacks on the extra point. And with 2 minutes and 39 seconds left to play in the first half, the Cardinals lead the Redskins 26-17.
Touch. Now Canon gives it a new meaning with the One Touch, the Canon NP120 copier. There isn't even a power switch. Just touch and copying begins instantly. You get 12 copies a minute on plain paper without wasted time or energy. The low-cost Canon NP120, the One Touch. Turning it off is even simpler. No touch. Call toll-free for information or contact your Canon dealer.
Just imagine if everyone drove a car like the Honda Civic DX, there'd be more room on the freeways. There'd be more space to park. and we'd probably all use less gas. The Honda Civic DX. It could make life a lot simpler.
Honda, we make it simple.
You think Jim Hart doesn't get excited after 16 years in the league? Watch
Here's
it.
that veteran. Watch this pump right there. That really made the play, and then he just laid it down the middle, and he gets excited right here. Jim Hart is a competitor. He wants this team to win. He wants to get on the track, and he is ecstatic right there.
O'Donohue kicks off for St. Louis. Terry Metcalf 2 yards deep. Out to the 15, 20, and a flag at the 23-yard line, and normally that would be a clip, something in that area. Illegal use of hands, preliminary indication against the Redskins. They can't get away. They're going to have an official at every practice. They keep this.
Well, you can't do that. That just that kills your drives. You start from such a tough field position each time. You got a long ways to go. That gives you the opportunity to make more mistakes on a long drive, and it's nice to get up around the 25-yard line and start a drive, but this kind of hurts you and also limits you to what you can do.
Use of the body, blocking from behind, above the waist. 72 on the return team. First down.
Big Dexter Manley, the Redskin rookie, guilty of the infraction, and that again saddles the Redskins with poor field position to start this drive as they're back at their 13-yard line. 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Theismann is 8 out of 9. Continuing to try to run Wilbur Jackson. Jackson 94 yards rushing in the first half here at 17 carries. Tampa Bay has scored on the Chicago Bears. Mike Washington and a 29-yard interception return. And you and I will be in Tampa, as a matter of fact, with the Cardinals.
Cardinals at Tampa.
Our first look at the Buccaneers. Detroit, Minnesota are tied in the second period. Detroit coming from 14-0 down to tie that one. 2-minute warning. Going to both benches, though. Theismann heads over to the far sideline for a word with Joe Gibbs. And we'll be back in St. Louis in just a moment.
Washington Redskins is one of the biggest men in the NFL. He's big in more ways than one.
It's been a tradition with the Redskins to always have a Santa Claus, and they needed someone quite large, and I was the natural pick.
Hey, Buzz, what is this? You moonlighting now?
Hey, come on, Herm, give me a break. This is something special for Christmas. I've been Santa Claus for 4 years and have enjoyed it ever since I started. You help so many kids from so many different agencies, and this is what United Way has provided, a vehicle for us to get out in the community and visit with some of these children. You can hide behind a mustache and a beard, but yet to see the young people, the twinkle in their eye, they just light up when Santa Claus comes. Regardless of what their problem is, it's all forgotten. The United Way provides a spirit of Christmas year-round. The many agencies, the many people they help, and that's why I'm happy to be a United Way volunteer.
The preceding message was furnished by the National Football League. Exactly 2 minutes left to play in the first half. The Cardinals have sent in a prevent type of defense here, anticipating the Redskins going to put it in the air on 2nd and 8 from their 15.
Well, that's a good stat right there for both teams. They're moving the ball on first down and getting plenty of yardage. That's what's hurt the Redskins the first 2 games, especially offensively. In the rushing game, they just had nothing. Now they're moving the ball well on first down, and it's made a difference. They've overall have played well offensively. The defense has given up 2 big touchdown passes, and of course they came in as the #1 defense in the NFC. So you got to get both units playing together to be successful, and Jackson's got 96 yards in the first half, and that surpasses and almost catches up with the total yardage rushing the last 2 games.
Monk in motion, starts one direction, then goes back. Theismann on 2nd and 8 retreats to the 5, trying to hit Ricky Thompson out at the 35-yard line. Roger Worley was defending.
It was a pretty darn good pass by Theismann, though. Worley was in position to possibly intercept the ball. He threw it low to the outside, and Thompson could have caught that ball.
There's Roger, who's become kind of a forgotten man here in a couple of weeks. He lost his starting job last week to Tim Collier, long-time Pro Bowl veteran, been in the Pro Bowl 7 years for the St. Louis Cardinals. Third down 8. Ricky Thompson wide to the left side, and Monk is set inside of him. Here's Roy Green, who's been all over the field today, offensively and defensively. Blitz. Theismann finally unloads it to no one in particular. I thought it was a blitz, but actually it looked like it was just Pollard chasing him all over the place.
Pollard was in there, and also
see if it did have a blitz here, because they got all over him in a big hurry.
Stafford Mays also put some pressure on him. But Theismann finally did a good job. 82, Pollard just looped around, got in. Greer went inside, Pollard went around, and of course Roy Green, number 25, came up to put some pressure on him, and Theismann got rid of the ball and didn't take the trap back near the end zone.
Punting situation, and Mike Connell is standing smack on his goal line as he awaits the snap. Cardinals got 2 men on the outside man for the Redskins. Big Dexter Manley, probably the only defensive lineman in the league who goes down as the outside man, covering punts. He's like 6'5" and 240, and he's fast. High kick. Good punt. Stump Mitchell, 40. This time down at the 45-yard line, but the Cardinals will have ample opportunity here in the 2-minute period to get back on the scoreboard again.
I think the stump got hurt a little bit, Frank. Might be wind.
50-yard punt by Connell. Far and away his best kick of the day. Stump Mitchell, number 9 draft pick. Citadel. He's the injured man. Fine kick returner. And a real bargain in the National Football League draft. Don't forget, halftime, have a complete update of all the scores, highlights, features. Lots of goodies for you. A minute 37 left on the clock. And the Cardinals will have a couple of timeouts left when play resumes here. St. Louis has moved the ball fairly well offensively. Their first 2 games, they've averaged 303 yards offensively, but defensively, they've given up 338 yards. Redskins, on the other hand, have moved the ball through the air, but not on the ground until today. And it's their defense. They have the number 1 rated pass defense in the NFC. Has had its problems today. I think it was Butt saying that the defense has spent so much time on the field that and they've been throwing so much, the defense comes out and it's 1, 2, 3 kick, 3 quick passes, and the defense is right back in there. That's got to wear you down after a while.
It does. And what happens on first down, if you try to get the short passes, the philosophy isn't bad, but you go in those medium range passes, your percentage drops down. It's into the 50 to 60% range. If you hit the short ones, you should hit 80% on first down. And if you miss a pass on first down at 2nd and 10, and you're immediately behind the 8 ball, and that's what the problem's been in the past 2 games for the Redskins. Of course, today on first down, they've done an excellent job. John O'Mahundro, the trainer for the Cardinals, was signaling something in the neck area when he looked over, but Stump was moving his leg, so it might be a nerve or pinched nerve, something in the back of his neck.
There's any time you get close to that area, you're going to be very careful before you move somebody, so you know what you're dealing with here.
I saw a little hand clap by one of the Cardinals over on the side, so evidently Stump must have said something, and number 35 Griffin was clapping his hands and he leaned down the Stump, so
we can take a look at the replay here.
He's probably doing all right.
Maybe we can see exactly where he got hurt. It wasn't evident to the naked eye that he was injured on the play. Here it is again.
Here's where he cuts back inside right here. Gets tripped up and hit in the leg right there. Seems like his leg's all right, though, and then he comes down. Bam, hits right there in the back of the neck. Looks like he pushed his neck down. Big number 77 for the Redskins. Darrell Granson, that special team 77, and just probably pushed his neck into his chest.
Jim Hannafin standing on the sidelines looking on. His team in Tampa Bay next week. Stump is up on his feet. Of course, the Redskins, have not lost their first 3 games in a season. You have to go back to 1965. That was pre-Lombardi. He's got a collar around his neck.
Yeah, that's what he was signaling for before. So he's.
Crowd loves him. He's getting a standing ovation. Really a popular player. One of the most exciting things they've had come to St. Louis in quite some time. Mitchell, who came into the game leading the NFC in kickoff returns, and of course returned a punt for 50 yards and a touchdown a bit earlier this afternoon to fire up the Cardinals. We'll get a report and see if he'll be back in the second half. Now, as we get back to play, Cardinals have the football. They have a 1st and 10 at their 46-yard line with 1:37 left to play in the half. And that means that Hart will go upstairs. That's the first time they've actually sacked him. Good pressure put on by the Washington Redskins, and particularly Coy Bacon, number 79.
Well, Bacon got him there late. It's off of a play action. There's not much at this time. The linebackers aren't going to go for that play action. He was looking for Steve coming back over the middle, and there was no give in by the linebackers in that fake, and they were back, and Hart took the sack.
The word on Stump Mitchell is that he has a sprained neck, and they're taking him in for x-rays, and he may or may not be back today. Hart on 2nd and 10. Safety valve is Otis Anderson looking for some running room. Out to the 42-yard line. He just did a little tiptoeing there, didn't he?
Well, if you get a report on Pat Tilley, he hasn't been in here for a while. They've got Dave Steve, number 84, and I don't know if Tilley's hurt, if they're just keeping him out, but there must be something wrong with Tilley.
Well, he's on the sidelines. I can see him standing right next to head coach Jim Hannafin with his helmet off, so it doesn't look like he's going to go back in anytime soon. And there's a guy who made the Pro Bowl last year, so you've got to figure he must be hurting if he's not playing. Clock is running with 20 seconds left to play in the first half. Cardinals have a 3rd down, need 13 for the first down. Sideline throw to Mike Fisher. Fisher, a rookie from Baylor, and he was worrying about where the sidelines.
They could have hit one more pass and kicked the field goal, or possibly kicked the field goal from there if he would have caught it. It would have been a first down. He jumped before the ball got there and lost his concentration when he jumped. It's a deep play to the sideline to get the first down. Hart drills it out there nicely, and Fisher pulls up on the sideline, jumped before the ball got there, and lost sight of it and went right through his arms.
Redskins send back Virgil Say as Birdsong comes in to do the punting. Kyle Birdsong, a rookie who beat out the veteran Larry Swider for the punting job with St. Louis this year. He's averaged just over 40 yards a kick thus far this season. Big rush by the Redskins, but he gets it away, hangs it up high, and a fair catch signaled by Say at the 17-yard line. Say, who had an outstanding collegiate career and once upon a time returned 3 punts for touchdowns in a single game at college. 41 yards on that punt, and the Redskins will get the ball with only 6 seconds left to play in the half at their 17. Again, a complete rundown on all the scores coming up at halftime. It's turned into quite a fine offensive football game. 26-17. Cardinals lead it. Redskins led at the quarter 10-9, but the Cardinals coming up with 17 big points in the second period, including Mitchell's punt return for the score. Theismann. I think Wilbur Jackson forgot what the play was, or what?
Well, he was. Theismann got rid of it very quick. Jackson hadn't even turned around, so there was a mistake between the two of them.
So that runs the clock down to the 2-second mark. Theismann is now 8 out of 12 after completing his first 7 passes on the day. He's thrown for 168 yards. But the big difference for the Redskins today is the fact they have run the football. At least Jackson has. Jackson has 96 yards rushing. He has all of the Redskins' rushing yardage. Metcalf has carried once for no yards. And this should be the last play of the first half. Theismann looking to the near sideline, and again the receiver, Ricky Thompson, did not look around. Thompson looking back at Theismann like, how come?
Well, Theismann was trying to get it in that quick area before Thompson looked, and again, they didn't have much of a chance to do anything with 2 seconds left. Overall, Theismann has thrown the ball well. They've run. Defensively, though, the Redskins have really given up some big plays, which has not been their tendency so far this season. And it's a difference in the game, 26-17, mainly because of Washington's defense.
That's what drives the coaches nuts, as we say. Joe Gibbs working hard all week to get that offense in gear, particularly the running game. Apparently has got things solved in that area. And lo and behold, the defense suddenly springs some leaks. Roger Staubach and I'll be back at Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis shortly.
1928, we didn't have enough people to qualify for an insurance plan, but Connecticut General took us on anyway because they believed we were going places.
Spotting a company on the way up is good for our business because when we take on a client, it's for life.
Connecticut General's kept us happy, but quite frankly, that's their job. After all, business is business.
After 53 years, we still work for United Technologies like it's the first day because we want their business another 53 years.
Connecticut General, we keep some pretty tough customers happy.
In Japan, people demand a lot from a 35mm camera. That's why thousands of Japanese have gone beyond ordinary automatic 35s to the Pentax ME Super. The ME Super is really 2 cameras. On manual, you use it like a professional camera. But on automatic, it's as easy to use as any 35. The Pentax ME Super. One reason we've sold more 35 SLR cameras than any other company in Japan, or in the world.
Last year, in a remote coal mining town in Pennsylvania, things were looking pretty black. The mine's generator shorted out, and replacing it required a 19,000-pound crane that was 3,000 miles away. That's why they called Emory. For we not only carry more weight than anyone, we carry it to more places more often. So overnight, we helped this remote coal mining town see the light at the end of the tunnel. Emory, at the right place at the right time.
Coming up on CBS Sports Saturday, next weekend, Roberto Duran continues to fight his way back to the top. Now he faces European super welterweight champion Luigi Minchillo. In 2 weeks, Boom Boom Mancini is on the verge of realizing his lifelong dream, the title his father never had the chance to win. Now, Boom Boom Mancini challenges 3-time champion Alexis Arguello for the WBC Lightweight Championship. Exciting boxing action coming up on CBS Sports Saturday.
Welcome back to the news desk in New York. This week, of course, began on a Thursday night with the Eagles downing the Bills 20-14. But the story there, Wilbert Montgomery. Late in the going, perhaps you noticed Wilbert Montgomery pulled a muscle. He's the Eagles' outstanding running back. And Irv Cross, what about his status now?
Brent, I saw Wilbert Friday night. He's never had a muscle pull, even when he was in college running track. He'll be out about 3 or 4 weeks.
And, of course, looking down the road, the Eagles have got a big one coming up against the Atlanta Falcons. All right, let's get you up to date with everything that's going on right now. Minnesota over Detroit, 17-14 at the half. But the storyline, well, it's deceiving because the Lions are on the move. They fell behind by 2 touchdowns. Yes, Tommy Kramer back at quarterback. He goes to Terry LeCount for 45 yards in this situation. And Teddy Brown pounded in from the 1-yard line. The Vikings running game has been absolutely non-existent this season. Now watch Tom Hannon of the Vikes strip the ball right here from Leonard Thompson on this pass reception, and he'll return it to the 5-yard line. And that set up Minnesota's 2nd touchdown of the game. You might recall that Joe Sensor, the tight end, dropped a couple of big passes against Oakland. Not here. He's got this one. 5-yard score. Now it was 14-0. But the Lions are slowly emerging as the class of the NFC Central. Billy Sims powers in. That's touchdown number 4 for the year. Folks, watch this one. Watch the desire. The guards pull, and Billy Sims goes up over the top, and it's 17-14 on a Rick Danmeyer field goal right now. Cleveland over Cincinnati, 13-0. And, of course, next week, the key doubleheader game on CBS will match the Cleveland Browns against the Atlanta Falcons. That'll be a key AFC-NFC showdown because the Falcons are in high gear right now. The Jets trail the Pittsburgh Steelers. 17-3 is the count there. Russell Davis at running back for the Steelers has scored twice for that team. And St. Louis 26, Washington 17. The game you're enjoying here on CBS. Well, I guess you're not enjoying it so much if you're a Washington Redskin fan. You wonder when that Joe Gibbs offense is going to get enough points to win a game. How'd you like this play, huh? A little razzle-dazzle, flea flicker. Ricky Thompson, touchdown. Washington goes up by 7. Jim Hart, the veteran, is back. Who is Roy Green, or of course, what's he doing out there?
Can you believe as a defensive back was converted to wide receiver because of injuries? Nice catch.
Stump Mitchell on the return, right up the middle. The Stumperoo did it in a preseason game that I recall. He turns it loose for 50 here. Now THEISMANN going to Art Monk, and he shakes a tackle. Right now, 79 yards and a touchdown, and this made it a 2-point game. But then Hart came back to Greg LaFleur. I've never heard of Greg LaFleur.
I know him. The Eagles drafted him number 3 out of LSU this year. Cut him. Cardinals picked him up. Touchdown, Mr. LaFleur.
I guess that means Krepfle's better than LaFleur, right?
Yes, so.
26-17 at the half. Now, Miami over Houston. 9-7 is the count in that game, and of course that is a battle of the field goals so far. And Atlanta over San Francisco, 24-10. I got to show you this Falcon attack. Steve Bartkowski took the opening kickoff, and boom, the Falcons moved right down the field. Here's the touchdown. Alfred Jackson, 29 yards. What are Bart's halftime stats, Irv?
You won't believe it. 11 for 18, 129 yards, 3 touchdowns.
And watch this effort by Lynn Kane on the swing pass.
Brent, I've seen some great runs in my career as a player and as a coach, but this one ranks among the top. Look at this. Great individual effort for the score.
That made it 17-0, and Joe Montana got the Niners on the board, going to tight end Charlie Young for 11 yards, 17-7. And then back he came, Irv Bartkowski, this time to Alfred Jenkins.
He has so many weapons as an offensive attack. Great pass receivers and a dynamite running game.
24-10 is the count. They're in the third period right now. All right, an update on San Diego. They have just come back to score a second time. Danny Fouts and the Chargers fell behind by 7, and now Fouts has thrown 2 touchdown passes. His second one to the rookie, James Brooks, out of Auburn, and they lead Kansas City 14-7. Tampa Bay over Chicago, 7-0 is the count in Soldier Field in the first half of that game, and it was the Buccaneers defense that did the job. Watch the pressure on Vince Evans here. And oh, Irv, you must have liked bounces like this when you were a defensive back. Mike Washington just runs on in. Slips past Walter Payton, and it's an easy 6, and right now it's 7, and the NFL Today will continue on CBS after these messages from your local stations.
Reach for CBS and reach for the stars.
This San Francisco garage owner is actually Merlin the Magician from King Arthur's court.
You have to be over 1,600 years old.
I do 30 push-ups a day, and I don't eat fried food.
Zach's his new apprentice, discovering Merlin's world of wizardry and bubbling over with tricks of his own.
Did you part the Red Sea?
Oh, I'm good, but I'm not that good.
It's Madcap Magic when Mr. Merlin premieres this fall.
This is CBS.